that, yesterday, even though it was hard, it was fun. Well, let me ask you, let's start with what made it fun first. What made it fun yesterday? Eddie, nice and loud.
One thing that was fun was we actually got to go over there, and I thought we at least tried.
Okay, so the fun part of actually competing.
And I thought another fun part was basically the first wrestling program for the Little League to go.
So the idea that this was the first ever youth dual tournament that we participated in as a school, that's really cool. Samuel.
That would just kind of be there and cheering.
So how many of you heard your teammates cheering you on? How many of you felt like that was exciting to hear them on the side of the mat rooting you on? Okay, cool, hands down. What else made it fun? Zane. Never mind. Cassius.
Sitting on the side cheering on your teammates.
So even though it was kind of a longer day, the idea of being able to sit on the side of mats, cheer on your teammates, standing up, saying good job, whether they won or lost, they went out there, they wore our Central logo, they represented us as a team, therefore they have earned our respect after every single match, right? What were some of the things that you felt just made it a very challenging kind of day? Eddie.
All the scores were actually like they practiced kind of like more than us, and I feel like they're a lot more compared for the and all that.
Okay, so some bigger teams maybe?
We haven't wrestled anybody there.
Yeah, so there's a good reason why I chose yesterday as a day where I think we could give it a try. You guys probably wrestled some kids that you've never wrestled before. And we're going to talk how that is relevant to this and our idea of a comfort zone. Okay? So, Cashin, what else made it really challenging? So, when we go to a team duel, it's a little different where you weigh in what you weigh and then you wrestle those kids that are probably going to be within a few pounds of you. In a team duel situation, if we don't have someone at a certain weight, one of the strategies that we can do as a coach is, well, we can maybe bump a wrestler up. If we have two people at the same weight, let's try to do one at the upper weight, right? Zane.
A lot of the other schools, there were a lot bigger schools and they just had a lot more people.
Yeah, so imagine, Zane, I'm gonna ask you, imagine, would it be helpful to have maybe 3 or 4 people about the same weight as you at practice every single time to be able to live wrestle with?
Yes.
Absolutely. That is essential. Now, I could literally put on a pair of basketball shoes, grab a basketball, go down here to the blacktop, and work on my shots, right? It's kind of hard to get better at wrestling when it's just yourself. You need another person to be able to compete against in practice in order to make you better. That's called iron sharpens iron. You cannot sharpen a sword with anything else than iron. Make sense? And that's what the whole idea is with wrestling, is iron sharpens iron. I need somebody good. I need somebody who's willing to battle every single practice against me, against my teammates, because we know that's going to make us better. That's going to make us stronger, right? And that is essential. That's why we're always trying to say, hey, get your friends out, explain to them, like this is a thing. Wrestling isn't just all by yourself. We need people to practice with, right? Okay, so yesterday we learned some things, didn't we? We didn't win a single duel. That wasn't my goal. I wanted us to go there and experience something different for us to be able to talk about and learn from. George, do you want to be my guinea pig? Not yet. Actually, not yet. Okay? You're going to be my guinea pig, though. I'm going to make you do it. I'm not even going to ask you to do it. Okay, so I want to draw your attention here to something that some of you may have seen, you may not have seen, I don't know. But there's this idea of a comfort zone. A comfort zone is things that make us feel good and comfortable. It doesn't challenge us, right? So what are some things as far as my comfort zone? I'll give you an example. My comfort zone is being at home on the couch, chilling with my dogs. I'm not working out. I'm not having to worry about work or worry about something else. My kids aren't screaming in the background, fighting, right? Things are comfortable. I'm not working to get better at all. What are some things that are in your comfort zone? Things where like, I need this to just feel comfortable. Give me one thing, Eddie.
Having time to spend with your family.
Hey, having a little bit of free time to spend with the family. George.
Laying around.
Chilling, laying around, absolutely. Jace. Sleeping, taking naps. That's a big part of just being, I don't have any homework to do. Mom's not barking at me to clean my room. Dad's not telling me to take out the trash, right? I got no chores and I can just chill. Braylon. Silence. So the idea of not being in a loud, noisy environment, but just being calm. That makes it comfortable. Last one, Eddie.
Watching baseball, wrestling.
Watching something entertaining. Is that baseball? Is that wrestling? Is that something else? We don't know. Something else that puts us in our comfort zone. Do you think when mom or dad makes us a meal, that makes us comfortable? I don't have to make it. I don't have to go out and find it, right? Kind of like how they had to do back in the day. Like literally there were no jobs. Your job was to go find food all day, right? Now we're super comfortable where, hey, we got meals, we got a grocery store, we got mom and dad that can make meals for us. Life is good. But here's something I want you to understand. This little dot right here, this is called a goal. How many of you have a goal this wrestling season? How many of you remember when we actually made you make goals for the wrestling season?
4 years ago.
Yeah, it was a little while ago, but the idea was that we would have to have a goal, right? So this goal, is it inside my comfort zone or outside my comfort zone? Totally outside my comfort zone. Big time, right? So the question is, this is where I don't have to do a lot of stuff and things are comfortable. This is what I actually want to get, what I actually want to achieve. These two things are apart from one another. So the question becomes, how do I actually achieve this from this? Zane.
By doing something like, if it's wrestling, then you might want to work out. If it's like getting an A on your math test, then you would study stuff.
Okay, so let's say my goal right here for the season is to qualify for state. For those of you wrestling at district on Sunday, that might be your goal. My goal is to place top 4, qualify for state, right? Well, in order to do that, I probably need to get off the couch, right? That's step 1 outside my comfort zone. Get off the couch. Okay. Step 2, what might be something else that I need to do to start taking those steps towards my goal of qualifying for state? Lucas? Hey, there's no rule in the rule book that says that I only have to work out during wrestling practice. I can always do push-ups, sit-ups. Maybe if there's a place to do some pull-ups in my house, I can always go for a little bit of run. Heck, even just spending a good old afternoon with the sledding with a bunch of friends, going up and down a hill. That's a workout, right? You're breathing hard, you're sweating at the end, I know I am. So that might be another step. What else?
Eating healthier.
The way I eat plays a huge part in how I'm going to actually wrestle my best to qualify for state. So making sure that I'm making better choices with my food. That's another step. Yes?
Another step is trying to gather friends for you can practice wrestling.
Hey, maybe it's trying to get my friends together and saying, guys, let's do a workout together. Let's go do some wrestling together, right? There's another step. Give me one more. I mean, I'm going way, way, way outside my comfort zone. Give me something. Lucas. To actually reach the goal. Maybe going way outside my comfort zone is, I'm not going to miss a single practice. My goal is to get to every practice. Or my goal is to get to a tournament every weekend. Or my goal is to, wrestle that kid that I've never beaten. I want him. I want him this weekend. I want to be in his bracket because I know that's going to be a test. Testing yourself continuously. Sometimes when we get to this point, we're like, oh, yes, we're really pushing ourselves, taking ourselves outside that comfort zone. T, sit down. taking ourselves outside that comfort zone. And then we're like, oh, man, being on that couch sounds really nice. Now we take one step back. You know what? Mom, Dad, can we stop for donuts? I'm missing donuts. One step back. Do you see how going from here to here isn't one big jump? It's a lot of little choices to get us there. Some of those wrestlers that we competed against yesterday, do you think they've been making some of those choices?
Yeah.
Yeah? They've been making those choices almost to the point where they're just like, I do this all the time. It's now easy. Guess where their comfort zone is? Look what just happened to the comfort zone. With all those little choices over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, stuff got real easy. This goal of going to state is looking very good right now. Make sense? That's how we grow. That is literally how we grow. Okay? So I want us to understand that you guys can sit here and look at these other wrestlers yesterday and be like, oh my gosh, these guys are so good. It's not because they go to a bigger school. I guarantee it. It is not because they chose to live where they live and go to a school that's 2A or 3A. I refuse to believe that. Because everybody has this ability. Just because you're at 2A or 3A school doesn't mean squat. Everybody has this ability to make these choices. Make sense? So give us another year or two. Do you think we're going to be closer to this end of it? Do you think our comfort zones are going to be bigger? Do you think that by coach making us do this stupid conditioning of burpees and this and that, that's actually going to make us better? Yeah. Now there's another thing I want us to talk about real quick. Coach, I have all red glasses filled up about halfway. I need you to give those to random wrestlers right now, if you would please. And if you spill, it's water, it's fine. George, come on up here. That was knocked out of your hand. Okay. Okay. I'm using George as my example here, mainly because I want to talk to you guys a little about something about energy. How many of you guys felt super tired after yesterday? How many of you guys were like, oh, we got 2 more duels, coach? Are you kidding me? I'm dead. I need a break. I need a breather. Clayton Hubbard went in 5 times for us. He stepped up. He worked his butt off, by the way. You guys saw it, right? So that's what I'm saying. There's a thing called energy. I'm using George here because last year when George was at districts, he really mentally struggles with wrestling more than 3 matches in a day. Well, I'm sorry, George. If you want to go to state, you're going to have to wrestle more than 3 matches in a day, unless you win the first 3 matches and then you won districts. Congratulations. You're a stud. Okay? But if you don't, you're going to be wrestling more than 3 matches. So here's the deal. George has a blue cup. George, is your cup empty? So this is imagine George right now. Actually, I'm going to, you know what? For the sake of metaphor here, I'm going to actually fill yours up a little bit. Okay? So George walked into districts with his cup this big. He's got it with some water. This is the fuel for what he wrestles with. Okay? This is the energy that he has. The water is energy. Drink that water, please, George. So George is wrestling his first match of the day. He wrestles well. He does pretty good. Good job, George. He wrestles his second match of the day. His second match was tough. He actually had to go into overtime, so therefore it took a little more energy for George to finish that match. Okay? George, because he lost in overtime, now has to wrestle a 3rd time. George wrestles a 3rd time. Guess what? We lose a little more energy that day. He's trying to keep it up, but we're on match number 3. Now, yeah, we're running pretty low. George, Go ahead. His fourth match, he actually wins it in a close last-second takedown in the third period. And then, now it's for his fifth match. This is for third place. Now, George is already qualified for state. It's done. He's locked in, right? And now this is for glory, right? This is for bragging rights. Be like, I got third, not fourth, third. He gives it all he got. He finishes it out. He loses and takes fourth. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But here's my point. Last year, George, when he was at districts, after the third match, your cup was empty, wasn't it? Mentally, he was ready to throw in the towel and just be done. And I'm not over-exaggerating here, so correct me if I'm wrong on any of this. But here's what you guys need to understand about energy. All of you have a little bit of water in your cups, right? So let's imagine for a second. Do not move that cup, okay? Keep it level. So imagine for a second, a teammate, Zane, comes over after one of the losses. Zane basically says to him, give him a compliment.
You're really good.
Pour a little bit in there. Not a lot, a little bit. Pours a little bit in his cup. Him saying that, go sit down. Him saying that gives George a little bit of energy. He's trying to give energy. Grayson doesn't say anything. He just gives him a high five. Fist bump. Give him a fist bump. Put some in there. Coach, do you have a cup? Grab someone's cup right out of their hand. Perfect. Now, Coach, after the loss, after that hard overtime loss, he might be talking to George, and he's trying to give him some pointers. He's trying to tell him that, you know what, there were some good things in that match. There are some things that we can work on. He's giving him some water. Can I borrow yours, Grayson? Okay? Now, here's what I need you to really understand. I'm not a quiet guy, am I? You guys can hear me pretty well when you're out there wrestling. Guess what I'm trying to do? When that match is tied, or you're down by 1 point like Braylon was yesterday, or how many times after the first period we were tied 2-2 or 4-4, right? And I'm on the edge of the mat trying to get your attention, to say, hey, keep going, stay after them. From the edge of the mat, while you are wrestling, we're trying to fill your cup. We're trying to give you that energy so you can use it during the match. Do you understand? So all of us in this process.
Is this really important?
Huh?
Can we stretch in here?
Stretch? You can stretch back there if you want. Okay? We're trying to fill that cup. Boys, I'm up here. Trying to fill that cup for that energy, right? So, George now is trying to get refueled. Maybe mom after the match is like, hey, do you need some water? Do you need some food? Do you need something? Let me help you out. You guys don't understand. You have so many people in your corner who's trying to help you fill your cup when you mentally and physically don't feel like you got anything left. If you're not willing to listen to them and accept them, that's like you taking this water and just dumping it out. Like, I don't want to hear it. Let me be upset. Let me be ticked off. You're dumping the cup out. And we don't want to do that. Now imagine for a second, if you will, George, we're going to imagine this empty cup is yours now. But imagine there's water in there, okay? Let's say George works out. He does all these things. He eats right. George. He eats right. He works out. He does his push-ups. He does his sit-ups. He does this. He does that, right? Do you think his cup is this big anymore? No. George, you made all the... Stay there. Just stay put. George made all the right choices. And when you do that, your cup is bigger now. You've grown that cup. George walks into the tournament with this full. Feeling pretty good now, aren't you? Hey, that can hold more water, which means I can do more. I can work out more. I can go hard in that third period, right? I can do all of that. Here's the problem. You don't know how big your opponent's bucket is, do you? Maybe they worked harder than you. Maybe they did 10 more push-ups than you every day. Maybe they went for a run while you were sitting on the couch. Maybe they were doing extra pull-ups because they have a device at home to be able to pull up on. They're walking in with this, but you don't know that. Right? That's the scary part. You don't know how hard the other person's been working, do you? No idea. Maybe they've been working on their technique. But now they have all of this to wrestle with. And you got that. And when that goes empty, because basically that water equals sweat, you're running on fumes. I'm still good to go. So here's what I'm going to say. Every time you come to practice, every time you go to a tournament, every time you make all those good choices, this is what we're trying to grow. This. So we can know that we're walking into a match with this next year against those teams, regardless of how big a school they are, versus this. So we're not tired after the third duel. We got a tank left. Not only that, we got mom, dad pouring back into it. We got coaches pouring back into it. We got teammates pouring back into it. Next duel, I'm ready to roll. You see what I'm saying? This is what it's all about in terms of making sure that we grow and making sure that we're preparing ourselves. How many of you would feel really good going into a match with this? How many of you are starting to feel scared about your little red cup? Yeah. So the next time you want to make the choice that's comfortable, next time you want to make the choice that keeps you in this comfort zone, instead of growing it here, think about that. Okay? Think about that. It's really easy to decide, you know what? I just don't want to wrestle this weekend. Good luck growing. Because guess what? Your opponent made that choice. They showed up. Your opponent showed up. Make sense? That's what we're about. Okay? Do you guys have questions about that? I wanted to talk you through that a little bit, not to necessarily make anyone feel bad or anything like that, but just to know that this, if you really want to commit and really be a wrestler, this is what we're trying to promote. This is what we're trying to build. Because as a program, thank you, George, sit down. As a program, I had to take myself out of that comfort zone. Do you know how many times we've been invited to that duel? 3 years. The last 3 years, we've been invited to that dual tournament. And every single year, I said, I just don't know if we're ready. Oh, you know what? Thanks for the invite. I just don't know if we're ready. Oh man, you got some big schools there. How are we going to be able to compete? I don't think we're ready. This year, I was like, screw it. We got to pull the trigger. We got to take some kind of step to get outside our comfort zone as a team, right? As a team. And that's what we're ultimately trying to do. That's all I want to say for that, unless you guys got questions. Eddie.